started a blog, the Minnesota Public Relations blog, www.mnprblog.com. And in 2003, and that was before anybody in the PR industry knew what a blog was. And why do I know it was before anybody in the PR industry knew? Because it was the 6th PR blog in the world. So it's been around for a while, and I've been, since that point, been pushing the envelope in terms of thinking about what we should be thinking about in the PR industry and what we should be doing. And to think about what comes next, I'm not exactly sure, but I think as a PR industry, we have to stand firm and continue to push towards strategy.
Tell clients too, you don't need a social media strategy. Your social media strategy is your PR strategy, and hopefully your PR strategy is your business strategy. They all kind of need to be aligned. And so when we talk about measurement, you can't measure anything at the end until you do what you were going to measure starting out. So it starts at that strategic point of what is your goal. I think oftentimes the PR industry or department is charged with a goal of, increasing brand awareness, which is a perfectly fine goal. But is that the business goal? Ultimately, the business needs to make money. So increase brand awareness by X in an effort to increase sales by X, and the PR efforts or your social media efforts will maybe be charged with 20% of that. That is much more of a tangible, measurable goal. So I think it's framing that goal at the front end with your strategy so that it all aligns and makes sense. And then when we talk about measurement on the end, we're always wanting to, ROI is the term that everyone throws out, and ROI always has and always will be a financial term. So if you are truly measuring ROI, and I think that that's a place too where historically the PR industry has struggled.
Even before, the pitch engines and other organizations like that really help you get the word out socially. I think back in 2008 when I was doing traditional public relations, I was doing a lot of media relations. I was starting to send out pre-written out tweets and posts that different publications could actually use to publish our information. And so, now you have Pitch Engine, which allows you to really very easily send out your information via social media. But I think it just determines on what your goal is. I think there's never a bad time to either do either one. I think the traditional press release has really changed just because social media has made the world radically transparent than it ever has been. You hear social revolution that I believe students are going to study 50 years down the road, just as we studied the industrial revolution.
Should the PR agencies are really trying to be all things digital, or buck the trend and continue to be good at what got them there?
I think overall, you just have to think about the tools that you have available to you and the audience that you're trying to engage. So when it comes to a social media release versus a traditional press release, I think personally that the traditional press release is not dead. As a former journalist, and as many of you are former journalists as well, you know that newsrooms are laying people off. There are fewer staff members to get the work done, and you still need to fill a news hole. So I definitely think that the traditional press release still has a place, and a social media release is just a new tool that you can use to further engage your audience. I think that the intersection of digital and traditional PR is a spectrum that you have to place yourself along. Obviously, you cannot ignore the digital trend, and we all know how instrumental that is in our work today. But at the same time, I think traditional PR is still the core of what you do, and it's about building relationships.
On the flip side too though, I think that social media allows us to really mobilize our biggest fans, and when things like that do happen, we had an instance a couple months ago where somebody was kind of slandering McNally Smith on Twitter, and our students and our fans, our alumni really stepped in and kind of said, whoa, hold on now, this place is awesome, and we're going to tell you why. And so it's really been a great tool to mobilize your troops when things happen.
Your PR and social media is going in terms of trends. crisis and reputation management is going to be huge because, as Christian mentioned, if you have something like the Domino's incident, it's going to be on social media, it's going to be on Twitter, it's going to be on blogs, Facebook, within a matter of seconds, minutes, and a company's reputation can take a complete nosedive within, a business day. So I think definitely where PR and social media is going, you have to take into account reputation management and really being strategic about having a plan in place for a crisis. What are you going to do if something happens? Because it's always when you have no plan that things hit the fan, and then you really wish that you would have thought about it before something actually took place.
This whole thing is who owns the social media? Well, and I think that's kind of it's almost becoming a primitive question. It maybe made sense to us all a couple of years ago, but the reality is that social media isn't a platform to publish anything, and you will completely lose control of your message in this space anyway. So first of all, you have to be comfortable with that. Social media is a communication system. It's a place where two-way dialogue takes place. So you can certainly enter it thinking like this is my PR channel, and I'm gonna have like PR conversations here, and I'm gonna pitch media here or whatever. But you turn on that communication system, and it immediately becomes about who's listening to you and what they're saying. So you turn on that channel, and maybe something and it doesn't even have to happen the moment it turns it on. You turn it on, but you wake up one morning, and suddenly thousands of people are talking about a product problem that you have. So you have to know what if you as the PR person are the frontline person for social media and acting as the community manager, you're still going to have to know enough about the company to respond to those, or you have to have a plan in place to route those issues to the correct people.
Some people tend to try to use everything, like, we have to be on Flickr, we have to be on Twitter, we have to be on Facebook, but you don't sit back and say, our audience is there, our stakeholders there, and I think that's really what comes down to having a social media strategy or a PR strategy, is understanding where your audiences are. So if they're not there, don't play with that tool. Like, know the tool, pet it every once in a while, but don't, like, own it. So that's my thing. I have